Today is Baklava Day. It is this crunchy thing outside. A little sweetness, maybe not little, a lot. And inside there are pistachios. And I am gonna teach you how to make that baklava that you would eat in Gaziantep. In Turkey, there's a city called Antep. People live on baklava, they sleep on baklava, they sleep with baklava, and you want to sleep with them.
Not that baklava.
Anyways, it's so great. I love going to Antep. I have been there many times. I wrote about all those beautiful guys which make this baklava for ages, and I have learned from the best. So, as a person who have learned from the best, and I want to show you everywhere in the world how you can make that great baklava. And in a very simple way, because I'm not going to make you do the dough, the phyllo, and it will take 10 to 15 minutes of your time. And even in Turkey, because we are like, our currency is so low, everything seems to be very cheap for the ones who come to Turkey. But this is not, like you would pay for the tray at least $50 and maybe more for the whole tray. And I'm going to show you how to make it in less than 15 minutes, and it's going to be so very cheap.
A tray of baklava is too big.
A tray of baklava you'll share. That's the beauty of it. You'll give it to your neighbors, you'll give it to your relatives, you'll give it to your friends at school, whatever. Turkish food is about sharing. And if you make baklava, please share it. Like, don't eat the whole tray, zaten. You shouldn't. I'm starting. I'm gonna put 450 grams of sugar. You might say, Oha Refika, this is too much sugar. You're right, but we're doing the classical one, and some of those classical ones have even more sugar. If you say, I don't want to use that much of sugar, but I want to eat baklava, in upcoming weeks, I'm gonna give a dry baklava recipe, which will have the same amount of baklava with just 100 grams of sugar. 1.5 glass full of water. If you have 4 parts of sugar, 3 parts of water, which is 340 milliliters of water. Medium heat. I'm gonna first melt the sugar a bit. The key here is, when you make a syrup, you have to melt the sugar before it starts to boil. If syrup starts to bubble up and still you have unmelted sugar, it will show itself at the end, like when you put the syrup on top of the baklava and it soaks it up, and then it starts to become sugary. It starts to crystallize. So, number 1 rule is, melt the sugar before the water starts to boil. While that's happening, I'm gonna also put the butter. We are gonna have 200 grams of butter. My fame is not gonna be very pleasant after this baklava, I know, guys. The crazy lady which uses the butter.
Is butter a carb? Yes.
I'm gonna clarify it. Lose the 50 grams of butter, and you can use that in eggs, you can use that while you're making a rice or something. Anything that you use butter with, you can use the clarified one. It's gonna have more milk content. What's clarifying butter? Why do I do it? Butter has like 15, 16, 17, depending on the butter, some milk content. These are, some of them are like in terms of liquids like milk, some solids like the little dots, they are like milk solids. That solid part sticks on baklava or whatever you do, and they burn. Then you'll get like brown dots and a little bit caramelized taste. That's why you have to clarify the butter. As you can see, all of the sugar melted. Now I'm gonna lower the heat. Because of the sugar, it's like rakı-like color and texture, but it's gonna be, as it simmers in a low temperature for about 10 minutes, it's gonna increase its thickness and it's gonna clear as well. The butter has melted. I don't want to boil it too much. I tilt my saucepan and collect this foam is the liquid milk. I switch my spoon to a new one towards the end because it sticks at the back of the spoon as well. So each time I put my spoon, some of these solids come. Sometimes, as you can see, some new ones pop up, and it's okay. After the surface is almost clean, like there could be some white spots. It's not the end of the world. Put it on another container. At the bottom now you'll see the milk solids started to get collected. It's almost like milk with butter in it. We use it elsewhere, as I said, eggs, anything you use butter. If you like the milkiness, that will go. And here's our clarified butter. And in the old days, for example, when there was no fridge, the milk was the thing which made the butter go bad. But when you do it like this, my grandma used to keep the butter like this for days and years because nothing happens to the oil when there's no milk inside. And it's called SADEYAŞ in Turkish. And we know clarified butter from G. G?
G-H-E-E.
G then.
How you pronounce it? G. G. So clarified butter is ready. My syrup is done. So we can do our baklava now. Here is what we use for baklava. I have actually seen this in London first before it came to Turkey. I saw it in an Arab market in London, but you can see it in Lebanese markets, in Turkish markets. This is yufka and phyllo dough. Yufka for baklava is great. It's like sheets like this, but it gets dry. So, for example, my dear Burak put it, this is the luxury to be in our atelier. Damp cloth and is wrapped like this so that it doesn't dry fast. So, the sheets are like this. And I'm gonna make a havuç dilimi, which is, it's called carrot slice. Does it look like carrots? No, but it's called that.
Yes, because carrot goes like this.
And I look like Ali McGraw, but or Jackie Kennedy. They used to, when I was thin, they used to. And it looks like carrots. So, okay, what I'm gonna do, you can make in a tray like this, a round one like this, or this is used in Antep for something else, but I believe it's gonna look cool in this, so I'm gonna use a copper pan. Anything that can get into the oven would work. Now, this is the sheet. There are 25, and it's about 400 grams of dough. I'm gonna put the tray that I wanna use. I want to make it as thick as the bottom. So it's gonna be a little hard to score. Maybe if these are same, they are same. This is easier to do. So before you start, it's better if you sharpen your knife. For example, if you don't have like the steel sharpener at home, get a knife, another one, use the back of that knife and do this. This is a very simple method, but it works really well. And because this cutting the phyllo is kind of hard. Now, I cut it in circles. As you can see, because of the light, it's very warm and dry here. It started to dry immediately. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put on top of this damp cloth. And here, these are the pieces. And we are gonna use these pieces on the baklava layers as well. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like cut them in pieces like this, bigger and smaller. And these are gonna be layers in between. Okay.
Can I come to help? I will give you the pieces and you will like butter them and continue. It's gonna be easier with a person if you are lucky.
Bayağı he wants to be a part of the show.
He should be. Okay, so we start with buttering the bottom of the tray. We get the first 3 layers round. Butter. Guys, please tell what you want to see Burak doing. He's a great bread chef. He loves doing pastry. So what we do, after 3 layers, I start to use these scrubs. And these scrub pieces, I try to put in such a way that it covers also the edges like this. And after I make sure that it's about another 3 layers, I also put butter. And voila.
So 3 round layers, 3 scrap layers, in between oil.
This is how I start, but I just don't want to go with just scrubs. So, for example, after these 3, I put 1 whole and then continue with scrubs. The thing is, I want to leave as much perfect circles to the top as possible. So, after I use totally 10 round sheets, how did we use them? At the bottom, 3 sheets, then scraps, then 1 sheet, then some more scraps and 1 sheet. That way I have totally used 10 of these sheets. and it's time to put the nuts. For the pistachio, I have these green nuts which are called bozic. Normally they have this pink skin. You put it in warm water and then you can peel, but you can just use them with the skin on as well. Okay, I roughly chop the pistachios. Spread it all like this. Here I have some dust. You can buy, if you cannot find this one, you can buy the dust. I just wanted to show you that you can use this one as well, or you can do it like I do. It smells so good. Flowery, fresh taste. A bit of butter, not so much. And the rule continues. I'm gonna put one perfect round sheet and then continue with scrubs. Try to make scrubs so that like they cover like 2 more layers. So this means like there are gonna be 3 layers of phyllo. Then I'm gonna put butter. And this will continue until the scrubs finish. And after the scrubs finish, I'm gonna use these perfect sheets for the top layers. Now, after everything is ready, what I'm gonna do before buttering the top, with a wooden spatula, this is a knife, şimşir knife, I tuck in the sides and also cut if there's extra parts because of the scraps, cut it like this. And then what I'm gonna do is put some butter. This will help me cut the baklava easily. Now, first we start with a cross. Make sure you go all the way to the bottom. Now, I'm gonna turn the tray 90 degrees and then cut again. If you don't have a mat like this, what you can do, you can also make a half and then half it again, but it's hard to make it perfectly. Or if you have a mat like this, for example, it's divided into like 30 degrees, so 3 pieces, and I want to make 3 pieces. I place it and then find that one is here. Now, the hardest part is over. Now here comes the fun side. And the fun thing now, as you can see, it looks a bit miserable. And what we're gonna do with my fingers, I'm gonna fold it into a shape like this. After tucking all the edges, what I'm gonna do, first also butter the sides and then put the rest of this butter on top. Especially don't forget the edges because they dry up fastest. Also, if you don't butter the center really well, after you put it in the oven, it starts to like go up, and we don't want that. And as you can see at the bottom, these milky parts, and I don't want to use this. This will also go for an egg recipe or something. Now our baklava is ready for departure. Fasten your seatbelts. So it's gonna get into the oven under 170 degrees, and our journey is gonna continue about 25 to 30 minutes. At the first part of the journey, she's gonna be in the medium tray for about 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, she's gonna go down to the bottom of the oven for about 8 minutes. And then we're gonna move her back into the medium tray until it's golden and beautiful and looks crunchy and says eat me. Okay, now my şerbet is also simmering for about 10 to 11 minutes, a little bit more. What I do, I just make a scar for the lemon because I'm gonna just use a few drops of it like this. This also helps it to not crystallize and get into that balanced kıvam, thickness. And why did I do the lemon like this? This will stay fresher longer time. So my şerbet is also ready. I'm gonna use it for baklava. Some people use it when it's really bubbly hot, but it turns into baklava a bit mushy. But when it's really cold, it doesn't infuse with the baklava. So it's going to be warm. I'm gonna leave it on where the stove is still hot, but it's not on, for like 20 minutes until the baklava is done. It will keep it in a little warmer than room temperature. And the Oscar goes to our beautiful baklava. Nice, huh?
Wow.
Start from the top and make sure that each piece gets its own share. Now the baklava is flooding in the syrup, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to be a bit patient, let the baklava cool down for an hour, and it will soak all the extra syrup, and it will be ready to eat.
I can hear your stomach.
Feed me! Does it have to be mine? Feed me!
I can hear mine as well.
So, is it time? Are we there yet?
We are not, it's been just like 10 minutes, but I want to eat it when it's still warm as well. But like, don't do what I do, but it is like perfect when it's warm, and I want Bahar and Inan to experience this. Make sure that the edges are free. This is so key because it's still warm, so don't do what I do. Now I'm gonna open this like this. Put the ice cream.
Wow. What are you doing?
This is baklava pasta. And who's gonna get the first piece?
Why not me?
There's no elegant way of eating this, guys, huh? Bahar, are you coming? Soggy bottom, ice cream and crunchy. How are you?
It's burning, or it's too cold,
It's not cold.
or...
It could be cold, huh?
It's like being on the clouds.
With pistachios.
Do it at home.
I'm not a very big sugar fan. And here it looks very sugary. But when you eat it like this, it's not.
No, it's not. You need another bite.
From the pistachios, flowery taste, the crunchiness, the creaminess, and everything goes really well. As I said, when you eat it like everyone should get a piece, and that's fine. But if you want to eat a less sugary version, it's going to be in several weeks. It's a technique that I do, and I call it dry baklava, inspired from the Lebanese cuisine. Hope to do that as soon as possible. And if you enjoyed it, thank you. It's great to have you guys here. It's great that our family is growing. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you'll be happy with the results. And write a comment and share of how you do, if you do the recipe, or write a comment if you enjoy the video. Take great care.
The video is not over. When it's cooled down, we're going to eat it with all its crunch all
Okay.
together.
Deal. Now our baklava soaked its sherbet, cooled down, and it's ready for its perfect shape. First, we take it from each side and then get underneath. And here we go. I also want to show you a way to eat the baklava. You cut it like this, for example. You take it like this, upside down. You might hear some sound from my stomach.
Yes, we do actually. Because of your stomach, we can't take any sound.
Really?
Yancı. Aa.
Mm.